John, if I can come to you, this presumably wasn't what you had in mind with the referendum 4.5 years ago, was it? To be looking at this cliff edge and talking about industries on the point of collapse?
Well, I think that's sort of a bit strong to say industry's on the point of collapse, but I do understand the farming issue, which is a big issue. But we have to look in this in the round. And no, I didn't envisage just going this far, because every indication should have been that Brussels would have been delighted to do a deal with us. You know, let's look at the facts. The facts are that they gain £80 billion worth of trade surplus from us. They gain a big Brexit payout from us and access to our markets. If we don't do a deal, if the Europeans don't do a deal, there'll be 80 billion worse off potentially. That will sit mainly on the doorstep of the Italians, the French and the Germans, especially the Germans. Though all those manufacturers in Europe were desperate for a deal.
But you've heard where the balance is now between sovereignty and economics. And Boris Johnson has made absolutely clear that sovereignty has to, as it were, reign supreme. That's going to be his primary consideration at this point.
Absolutely. No, sovereignty has to reign supreme. But there's no reason why the Europeans should be dictating some of the reduction of our sovereignty in order to have this free deal. They should want the free deal desperately on commercial terms. All they're doing is playing brinksmanship and taking advantage. And I don't know why, but they seem to fear Britain having free trade arrangements. And, you know, it's never been more vital that we get these free trade arrangements than it is now, because after pandemic, we desperately need to invest in our economy, and we need to fight tooth and nail to bring businesses into the UK. We need to set up enterprise zones. We need to attract inward investment and really drive the growth of our GDP and British businesses and businesses onto our shores.
John, can I just check with you before I go back to Minette? Do you think business should be able to ask for a bailout under those circumstances?
Well, I think the first thing I'd say is that right at the beginning, I said as a result of COVID, no business should be worse off than it was prior to COVID. And there's never been a time when the government should borrow more than now to invest in the economy, because we've got virtually zero interest rates.
When you say invest, do you mean as in prop up businesses that might go out of business? I mean, is that what we're talking about? No, well, that's the question. That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, but I'm going to answer that question. To invest in the economy, to create jobs, but to compensate businesses that might be very badly hit as a consequence of either COVID or Brexit or both. So I would favour a degree of compensation. But that's a complex issue, because businesses have had 4 years to prepare, and the changes were coming and people needed to adjust. But I agree absolutely with Justin's point that if the government don't do the right things to enable our goods to go abroad and for goods to come in, then that sits at the door of government. Businesses can only do so much. They need a fully supported government.